guys, and welcome back to the Lounge Life Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Rob, and this next to me, that way, is your other host, Al. What's going on, Al?
How are you today, man? It's good.
The weather's been great, but we want to welcome everybody back. We've had a little bit of a break here. We had a little summer break. Everybody's schedule is kind of real busy, so we decided to kind of just turn it into a small summer break. But we are back with a banger of a show to kick off this new season. I should say would be none other than John Huber from Crown Heads. And let me tell you, I am super excited to have John on. Uh, he is a super busy guy, and he has so graciously uh, agreed to come onto the podcast to talk to you guys a little bit and answer some questions and talk about what's coming up from Crown Heads for the rest of the year. But as always, we are going to kick off this episode with our rapper report. And Rapper Report is brought to you by Valor Cigar Accessories. They do these amazing cutters, these guys right here. And they're fantastic. They're made in the United States, out of Tech. They're boys out of Texas. And 10% of all their profits that they have from the company go back into veteran and first responder charities. So, we like to support American made. We like to support our veterans. We like to support our first responders. And if you want to or are interested in buying these cutters, they have cutters. They have a 3-finger cigar case. They got all kinds of designs. Go to our link tree on our page and you will find all their stuff. So, without further ado, Mr. Al, what do you got for your what's in the no, our rapper report? What do you got for your news story?
Well, it's a story from back in July, and Florida has dropped the cigar wholesaler permit. So in the past, for um let's see, uh for to be able to order bulk cigars in Florida, you had to have a wholesaler permit.
Okay.
Um, and they have going forward, the companies engaged in selling cigars to licensed alcohol or tobacco retailers do not have to have this permit.
What was their limit for like bulk? Like what did they consider bulk? Do they have a number there? Like if you wanted to order like
Um,
100 boxes, 200 boxes, 1,000 boxes.
I do not see that.
All right.
Um, but let's see. Yeah, but just to be able to sell or receive large amounts of cigars, you had to have that wholesaler permit. Um, no, I'll tell you what. I'm sorry, I may have messed that up. I think the companies selling to the shops had to have the wholesaler permit.
Gotcha.
So going forward, I guess kind of like alcohol, you have to get by through a distributor.
Mhm.
Um, so I guess that was their way of regulating that. So now they don't have to have that permit. So
Okay.
which is probably going to help with uh, the number of people providing cigars into Florida.
Hmm.
So that may help with the broaden people's catalogs, so to speak.
Okay.
So what what's your news story?
So it just so happens that one of my favorite legacy cigar brands, sorry, my father has finally released their first Honduran cigar. Um, out of their brand new Honduran factory that's been in the making for a few years now. They have roughly 900 acres that they bought, and they have released their first line out of this factory. It's called Finca La Opulencia, and uh, it's a cigar. It's got a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper with Honduran binder and filler. They describe it as like a medium to full cigar, but it's kind of cool because my father is not normally known, obviously, for Honduran cigars, but their first foray into Honduran cigars um, is seems to be pretty promising. All the shops that I know of and everybody online seems to be buying it up real fast. People seem to like it. Normally they're out of Nicaragua, all their stuff, and they still have a small rolling operation in Florida. But what they say is it's medium to full-bodied cigar that uses a broadleaf wrapper over binder and filler from Honduras. It's a mix of Corojo and Criollo varietals from the farm, and it's the Garcia family's first farm in Honduras. So, I haven't had mine yet. I have mine resting in my humidor. So I kind of look forward to what the this My Father Blue it's called. So the funny not a funny story, but the story behind My Father Blue is the band is like a white and like a baby blue color, and which kind
Mhm.
of is a nod to the Honduran flag. Um, so they've been harvesting tobacco and growing tobacco for a few years now, and now they have just hit stores over the last, I would say, 30 days. So, looking forward to it. So have you seen any of the My Father Blues out there yet or no?
I have not. I've seen some people that have had them,
Okay.
but I haven't seen them in the wild, so to speak.
All right. So, looking forward to it. Like I said, I have 4 in my humidor that, you can't always just smoke one when I review a cigar. So I have 4 sitting in my
Yeah.
humidor. We're gonna see how it smokes. So I'm looking forward to it. I really do like Honduran tobacco. I smoke a lot of Aladino, I smoke a lot of Cavalier, and they tend to be, I mean, they're based out of Honduras. So, Corojo is some of my favorite leaf. So we'll see what happens. It's from what I've heard, people say it's definitely along the lines of a My Father,
Yeah.
but different enough from the Nicaraguan stuff that um, they like it. So we'll see what
Yeah.
happens.
Well, I guess the first time I had a Corojo wrapper cigar, I
Hmm.
didn't like it. It just didn't hit right. But
Yeah,
and it was fairly early on, and but now I've grown an appreciation, and it may have just taken development of my palate to
yeah,
uh, to grow into the taste, so to speak. So um,
yeah. Like I
bigger
said,
fan now for sure.
some people like it, some people don't like it. It is what it is. Honduran tobacco is, you know, uh, I mean, it's been around for a while, but it was temperamental, and then the scene kind of came back after they had a big issue in Honduras where they lost a lot of their tobacco farms because of um, a it was I believe it was a mold problem, and
Oh,
so it was infected with mold, and they had to destroy a lot of their crops, and so um, it kind of disappeared for a little bit, but then it's kind of slowly come back. But now you see all these Honduran companies and all these Honduran cigars coming back on the market. So yeah, like I said, we'll see what My Father Blue has to offer, and in a future episode, we'll see if we can feature it. So yeah,
absolutely.
we'll see. And you know, uh, the Rapper Report, as always, is brought to you by Valor Cigars Accessories. Um, as I said, go check them out, American made, and their link is on our link tree. Now we move into what's in the ashtray. This is the point of the show where we kind of talk about, um, what we've smoked that we thought was memorable, not memorable, issues you've had, and so we're kind of each going to talk about a cigar. And what's in the ashtray is brought to you by Bullets and Brave. Bullets and Brave, as you can see, like Al's holding up. They do all kinds of custom work. He's got a custom engraved cigar stand. It's got brass knucks and bullets on it. I'm drinking out of their cup. They have a uh, a pretty cool insulated cup. I actually love this for the morning for my coffee, and
Most
it's just
definitely.
if you again another American company. Um, and they do all their own stuff, so you don't have to worry about anything being farmed out. Again, if you want to purchase from these guys, the link for their Etsy page is in our link tree, and so go check them out. So, Al, what's been in your ashtray that you liked or disliked?
Well, something that's really, really stood out to me was it's not a new cigar. It's the Jericho Hill from
Okay.
Crown Heads. Um, it's San Andreas wrapper with Nicaraguan binder and filler, and it checks every box. It hit every sweet spot. Um, Lots of chocolate. Um, it's very rich and kind of a chewy smoke texture.
Yeah.
So it was just like I said, it just really hit all the spots.
Yeah.
Um, and and of course too, I mean, there's no hiding it. I mean, we got uh, all the gear on. Crown Heads is just it's one of my favorite brands for sure.
Oh, stop it. Yeah,
No,
we
no, no,
really
no, and
do.
that's real. That's not pumping it up.
No,
That's just reality. I mean, the Jericho Hill, the Belgian Blue, Serie E, uh, the Broadway. Um,
which is what
I
I'm
just have to.
smoking today.
That's awesome. It's definitely going to be in my top five, top 10 for sure for the year.
Yeah. All right, that's
So
cool.
what's in your ashtray?
So one of the things I liked that I smoked over the last 2 weeks was, again, I was just talking about Honduran tobacco. And one of the things that I got to finally try was the Aladino 85 Aniversario Reserva. So this is um, a cigar that has a nod to Julio Iroa, who was the patriarch of Aladino Tobacco, and he's still kicking around the farm. And so they have a cigar that is um, made for him. It is a mild to medium smoke. You get a lot of like the classic Connecticut shade style flavors. You're gonna get like the floral, cedar, cream, vanilla, um, white pepper. But one of the cool things is you get like a nice brown sugar note towards the end of the cigar. And the interesting thing is it's not like um, your classic Connecticut shade cigar because this uses a special Honduran tobacco called Piñareño. And there we go. And the Piñareño leaf is an especially temperamental. I'm going to call it temperamental. So it's a temperamental leaf to work with because it is super susceptible to rot and disease, even more so than most other Honduran tobaccos. So this is like a special release that they're doing that they limit their purchase of boxes to shops, and so it is an interesting cigar that will get a will get a um, honorable mention for my top 10 for this coming year or for this past year in like December, January, because I like to put in like core line stuff for my top 10. But
Mhm.
seeing as the Aladino 85 is a special edition, it's unfortunately not going to be able to get a top 10 spot. You know, for me, that's how I like to run my top 10.
Right, right. Nice.
But yeah, so the I had unfortunately, like I said, with I always say with natural products, you're always the possibility of getting like that one cigar that just doesn't act right. The first one I got was plugged up and had to bin it. I couldn't even light it, which was so bad. Um, but the second one was perfect. Um, I'm lucky I bought three when I was in Miami. I bought it at Corona in the Little Havana Corona. Was it Corona?
Yeah.
And there's a big cigar shop down in Little Havana that just opened. I don't think it's the Corona store. Something else. All right, I'm getting my things mixed up. So, but we're 15 minutes in. So, without further ado, I want to introduce our guest before we put him onto the stage. Um, we have today such an amazing guest, such a great friend to the show, um, an amazing guy, a gentleman, um, somebody who is just super generous. He goes above and beyond what he needs to do to interact with his fan base. So uh, I will bring on John Huber right now. John,
Robin Al, what's up?
what's going on, John? Thank you so much for taking time out of, I know what is your busy schedule because I know your release is coming up. We're going to talk about that shortly. But
My pleasure.
thank you so much for coming on the show. Like I said, I know you've been a big supporter of the show, and me and Al, and just kind of just the way you interact with your fan base is fantastic. I don't know very many people. I follow a ton of people on social media when it comes to like owners and stuff like that of these boutique cigar brands, and I
Right.
don't think that I've ever seen anybody interact with their fan base and um, not only talk about cigars but talk about life in general. And I think is awesome because sometimes you need to hear that.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't think I've seen anybody in the cigar space that has a social media presence like you do. So, first of all, thank you for everything that you do
Thank you.
for your fan base and your brand. So, welcome to the
Appreciate it.
show. Welcome to
Thank
the
you, man.
show.
Thank you.
And so let's get right into it.
Well, let me just say to that point, like is interacting with the fan base, as you put it, I prefer to just put it as people that enjoy our products or whatever. But it's something that some brand owners, I'm not saying everybody, but some brand owners look at as I have to, and I look at it
Mhm.
as an I get to. This
Yeah.
is like a luxury for me, especially in this day and age of social media, to be able to connect with so many people and just as you said, talk not only about cigars but life, whatever. And
Hmm.
yeah, it's something I get to do, so I'm very grateful and I feel blessed to be able to do it. So thank you for saying that.
Yeah. Like I said, it's always like I remember, what was it, like a week or two ago, where it was just like, hey, you matter. Um, have the best day of your life. And that's all sometimes that somebody needs to
Yeah,
just have that turn that bad day into a better day, especially when
yeah.
it comes from somebody. Um,
Hey,
especially
listen,
when people
we all need it. I need it too, and I look outside of my sphere for that too.
Mhm.
And I always look for that little motivation, that inspiration to stay in the present, make today the best day. Don't worry
Yeah,
about tomorrow. Yesterday's gone. It's all sounds so cliche,
yeah,
but it to me, as I get older, it's the secret to finding happiness and peace in your life.
yeah. So um I know you've been on my personal show before, but you've never
Hmm.
been on Lounge Life podcast before. So I like the I would love to start with just a question that you probably get asked a million times, and it's probably so worn out at this point. But the name Crown Heads has an amazing kind of quirky um, beginning to it.
Uh-huh.
So
Origin
how
story.
did the yeah, or a little origin story. So how did you come up with the name Crown Heads for your brand?
So when my business partner, he's now retired, but Mike Conder and I decided to do this new company,
Yeah.
one of the things I was tasked with early on was finding a name for said company. And so right out of the gate, I started having this notebook. I'd write all these names and I would star some of the names and I would send them to Mike. Some of them he would like, I didn't like. Some vice versa, I would like, he didn't like. And then the ones we agreed on, the attorneys didn't like. Oh, you can't do this, whatever. So I was
Okay.
just kind of at a stalemate. I'm just kind of trying to figure something out. And true story, I was at home one day watching Wizard of Oz on an iPad,
Mm-hmm.
and I love that I've seen that movie so many times. It's just there's
Mm-hmm.
a whole mythology behind that movie,
Yeah.
whatever. And there's one scene in there where it's still in sepia tone, it hasn't gone to color, but when Dorothy's walking to see Professor Marvel, the guy that tells her fortune, on the side of his caravan, it said, "Crowned heads of Europe, past, present, future." I saw that, I screenshotted it, I texted it to Mike, and I said, "Crowned heads," and he says, "I like it," and I said, "Yeah, I do
Mm.
too." And the idea that I had was I didn't want like Condor Huber cigars or C&H or H&C or any of that stuff. I wanted it
Yeah.
to be this ubiquitous kind of, what does that mean, name that could also be applied to other industries. I mean, I could do a Crown Heads bourbon or a Crown Heads coffee or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. It was just, and so we sent it for registration, got it, and the rest is history. So that's where it came from, was Crowned Heads. And then after we announced it, a lot of people had theories that the C and the H were for Condor and Huber, or Crowned Heads was like the crowned head of a cigar. How
Mm-hmm.
the Cubans used to roll, and I said, no, it's really that simple. It's just from the Wizard of Oz. I just nicked it off of a movie.
Now, one of the questions I don't think I hear very often is, do you remember any of the rejected names that were kind of thrown out there that were kind of like all over the place?
Yeah, there's a few. One that came to my mind was Nova Cigars, Nova.
Okay.
And for me, it was Nova, like we didn't go to Northern Virginia,
Yeah.
VA, because we were trying, they were, we had been acquired, or CAO had been acquired, and they were going to Richmond, Virginia. And I'm like, Nova, like we're not going to go. And
I
so
got you. Okay.
that was one of them. Maverick Cigars was another one that never got off the ground. Tin Man Cigars was another one that was kind of
Hmm.
like a riff off of the Wizard of Oz, but also
Mm-hmm.
Third Man Records. But those are the only ones that really I kind of remember. But there was a lot of them, man. There was a lot of them. But those are some of the really bad ones that I can remember. That I'm glad that didn't work out that way. So it was nice. It was, and then also it was like one of my favorite brands outside of the industry is a clothing and jewelry company called Chrome Hearts, and it had
Okay.
that same chrome crowned hearts heads. So
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, this is kind of cool. I like that because I always liked the Chrome Hearts vibe growing up in LA, or not growing up, but coming up in LA. So
Okay. So you were a West Coast kid before you came to the
mhm,
Midwest. Okay.
to the South, I grew up in the
South.
yeah, I grew up in San Francisco in the city until I was 17, and when I was 17, I left home, moved to LA, and I went to college there, and I stayed in LA for better part of like 13 years, and then
Wow.
moved to Nashville. So I've been in Nashville more than anywhere else in my life. So it's become my home de facto.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not originally from here.
Now, is that where you get the all the music references from, like the way that you interweave music and the different references that you have for your cigars and out of songs, and is that where you get all your
You mean
references
from
from
from that?
LA and
Well, it was always a big music scene in LA.
hmm
Nashville is known as Music City. I don't deliberately go down that path, but I just seem to find a lot of inspiration lyrically and sonically that I apply to cigars in some cases. Like, Headley Grange was based off of a drum beat on a Led Zeppelin song,
hmm
and Jericho Hill is a complete nod to Johnny Cash, uh,
hmm
things like that. But I always hated to get pigeonholed as like, oh, the music brand, and he's a music guy. And then I get asked
hmm
like, what instruments do you play, and all this. It's just a source of inspiration. I've always loved music. I still do. and I listen to all kinds of stuff. So it just kind of bleeds into the product inspo, the mood board in my head.
Now I know Al has a couple of music questions for you. So Al, kind of pick a couple. See what John says.
I got you. Well, I take it you're a Kings of Leon fan, right?
Yes,
Uh, have you heard the new Zach Bryan Kings of Leon song that dropped today
I
called
have not.
Bowery?
How is it?
It's fantastic. I'm a
It's
big Zach Bryan fan, so when it melds those two genres together,
I'll have to listen
superb.
to it. I'll pull it up on the way home. I knew that they were doing that because I saw something on social media, but yeah, I mean, Four Kicks, our original release, was a complete nod to Kings of Leon. There's a song
Mm,
called Four Kicks that they do, and I was listening to that song over and over and over and over, and that became the first brand. And all the iconography and Easter eggs on the boxes is kind of taken from the lyrics in that song. So yeah,
Very
it's
nice.
yeah, yeah. Kings are pretty awesome. I love those guys.
Well, and how do you translate the emotion of a song or an album to the profile of a certain cigar? Um,
Varies.
do,
Yeah, I'll give you a couple of examples. Headley Grange was based on the first 6 seconds of When the Levee Breaks from Led Zeppelin. And by
hmm
that, I mean, I was listening, for whatever reason, I got on that song at the time when we were working on blends with Ernesto Perez Carrillo. And I would listen to this boom, 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 Bonham's heavy, thick, dense drum sound. And I was just like, God, it's just, that's what I want the mouthfeel to feel like. I want that cigar to be heavy and plodding and just, and I didn't know how to translate it. I really didn't. And I kept telling Condor, like, this is what I want the cigar to be like. And he's like, you're
hmm
crazy. And I said, well, I'm going to pitch it to Ernie because we had just made Four Kicks and we were working on some other blends. And
Mhm.
I was on the verge of going down to the factory to work on what became Headley Grange with Ernesto. So we called him up, put him on speakerphone. I said, bro, I got something for you. I said, I want to make a cigar that tastes the way these drums sound. And I said, listen, and I played 6 seconds, rewind six, and I did this 3 or 4 times. And I stopped, and Connor's just shaking his head, rolling his eyes like, this is ridiculous. And then Ernesto just paused and he's like, okay, I got it. And he knew exactly what I meant, that I wanted to
hmm
make the cigar taste and feel like body wise, like the drums. And so that was one instance of how that worked out. Another instance was, lyrically Four Kicks, you know, it was a very rebellious, like, hey, we'll take the fight to the schoolyard. We'll take the cockfight to the yard, and Four Kicks, who's strutting now. It's about kicking somebody's ass, whatever. And I was just like, at that time, UCAO was being acquired by General, which was basically STG, and I was just so
hmm
anti-corporate, like, big, and that was my big to them.
hmm
And that was lyrically inspired by that song. It's just very like like really, if you listen to the song, it's just like dun 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 dun. And it's just like this. And even the video that they had at the time for Four Kicks, it was all this big bar brawl where there's people are beating the crap out of each other. That's where I was at mentally there. And then, one more example was Serie E, which
hmm
was, we came out with that a few years ago. Serie E was, and my Siri is going off on me right now on my phone. I'm like, no, God. Um, it was sonically inspired by the guitar solo from Eruption by Van
Eruption from
Halen.
Van Halen. Yeah.
And I kept telling the story. And in fact, I thought this was so out there that I went to a friend of mine locally was a guitar major and a guitar player, and he's a touring
hmm
musician with a very prominent artist that's like, he's huge. I said, hey, Kurt, like, would I be correct if I said that this trajectory of this solo sounds like the act of cutting, lighting, inhaling, blowing, smoking, exhale? I walked him through it, and he's like, yeah, I get that, man. I get it. I was like, okay, I'm not crazy. And then when we brought the cigar out, everybody dumbed it down to like, oh yeah, the Van Halen cigar. And I'm like, no, 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 no. It's not about Van Halen. It's
yeah.
the
Right.
sonic, it's the parallel of the way this guitar solo goes with, if you can envision cutting, toasting, lighting, blowing the
Hmm.
smoke out. But it just was a complete miss. And I learned a huge lesson from that. It was like, don't go down too far down the rabbit hole. People will just get lost and they'll just dumb it down to the lowest common denominator. In that case, it
Yeah.
was, hey, it's the Eddie Van Halen cigar. I'm like, miss.
Well,
So yeah.
I think it's cool though, because I think some people do really like to nerd out about that kind of stuff. When they like
Hmm.
see the little, when they like think they find like little Easter eggs on the bands. And I know you've talked about a lot of the different Easter eggs over the many different interviews that you've done. Talked about how Four Kicks has it on the box, and then how Las Calaveras has it all over the band,
Hmm.
and that kind of stuff.
And
But I think it's kind of cool that
the blood
that
medicine label.
yeah,
Mhm.
that I think it's kind of cool that you do these little nods, and I don't think everybody does that. They just like, oh, cool, it's a cool colored band, throw it out there in the market. But I think it's cool that you take the time to put the thought and love behind these cigars, and not just make it a hey, we got to throw a cigar out on the market. Let's just slap a generic band on it that's got the company name on it and make it a different color and be like, oh,
Right.
cool, that's the blend. You know what I
I,
mean?
I've always felt like everybody has their own approach to doing it. But for me, everything has to have a reason to exist. There's got to be
Mhm,
a reason why those stars are here. There's got to
mhm,
be a reason why these cross guns are on the box or whatever.
mhm,
And so it's all very thought out and deliberate, and everything is there intentionally.
mhm.
There's not a lot of accidents in what we do. And sometimes it works, and then sometimes it doesn't. So
Now, will you intentionally listen to certain types of music, like, when you're looking at your new blends of cigars?
no.
Okay.
No, that's just background noise. But like, I
Mhm,
mean, like I'm smoking a sample right now that I've been continually rotating for the last week,
mhm,
two weeks, for a 2026 our 2026 regular production line. No music inspiration, no nothing. There's a different inspo story, different mood board
mhm.
in my head for this
Okay.
cigar. So there's no music connected to it, you know. But I'm always listening to music. It's so random what I'll listen to though that
What kind of stuff are you into? Like, what kind of genres do you like?
Oh man, I'll go back and sometimes I'll listen to 80s alternative stuff like Jane's Addiction and
Okay.
Fugazi and stuff like that. Or I'll listen to rap and hip hop, or I'll listen to old rap. I'll listen to Malcolm McLaren. I'll listen to Digital Underground. I'll listen to
Mm,
Parliament. I'll listen to Funkadelic. Listen to Led Zeppelin. I'll listen to Morgan Wallen once in a while. It's just all over the board. I'll listen to classical. A lot of times, like on the
I love
weekend,
classical,
I'll
yeah.
just listen to like classical music, like some Bach or some
Mm,
Beethoven. And if I just want to zone out, the only thing I don't really listen to a lot is country music and jazz. Like I'm just not a jazz guy. I never got that whole thing.
okay.
But other than that, like yeah, everything is fair game.
Nice. It's funny because we get now, did you get your musical tastes from your parents, or was it like, because I noticed when I listen to music, my music taste is a fusion of what I like. I'm a big metal guy. I like all the new stuff, the deathcore, and just the screamo stuff that kind of feels like, if I'm having like a really crappy day and I just want to like get the anger out, it's just like sit down, turn your music up as loud as you can, just the angriest music you could find, and just kind of like zone out for like an
Hmm.
hour, and then you're just like, all right, I'm cool now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
then
no, I
it's
totally get
like
that.
but then it's like, I noticed from my dad's, like, my dads were big music guys. So, like, so I had, a father and a stepfather. And my father, he listens to a lot of like 50s and doo-wop and Elvis and um, all that kind of Sun Records stuff. And
Hmm.
then my other father is like 60s psychedelic rock with like 80s rock and classical music and blues music. And so I listen to literally everything across the
Hmm.
board. But have you noticed like where your music taste comes from?
Life experience. I mean, I wasn't home long enough to really get any influence. I mean, I was barely 17 when I left home and I never went
Okay.
back. I do remember as a boy, like my mom used to have a lot of Johnny Cash records, so I was familiar with Johnny
Yeah.
Cash. There was some Frank Sinatra stuff laying around the house.
Yeah.
My father, who he basically left when I was 2, or
Yeah.
younger, I think. I'd go back over his house on the weekend once in a while, and he was really into the Stones. So, and my mom
Yeah.
was into the Beatles. But it really wasn't until I got out on my own and I started like the first time I ever heard like rock music, like rock
Hmm.
and roll, was like I was in my freshman year of college when I went to
Mm.
LA. Because prior to that, where I grew up, like we listened to Bootsy Collins, Parliament,
Mm.
Funkadelic, you know,
Okay.
Ohio Players, Jackson 5, you know, just R&B stuff. And I grew up in a real urban neighborhood, and that's what I grew up on. That's what I just listened
Yeah.
to. And then I got to college, and I was like, "What is this?" Like, you know, they
Hmm.
started playing stuff like Led Zeppelin and the Doors, and this is kind of cool too, you know. So then I started to experience more. And then when I moved out and lived in LA, I was exposed to the whole alternative scene and started going to underground clubs and Jane's Addiction, Red Hot Chili Peppers, all that came into my
Yeah.
my you know, foray or whatever. So I was just, you know, just being out there and just kind of like experiencing different
Hmm.
stuff. And K Rock, which is a popular station in LA, radio station, that was
Hmm.
always it was all I ever listened to was K Rock. So KROQ would play, and we'd hear, you know, all these bands that hadn't broken out into the mainstream. And I was like really into like that alternative scene in LA. And I would
Yeah.
go, you know, I'd go out at night and I'd bump into Adam Horovitz from the Beastie Boys at an
Mm.
underground club, or I'd see Anthony Kiedis from the Peppers at a deli at 2 in the morning. And that was just normal, you know. I was like, oh, there's Anthony,
Mm.
you know, whatever. So
Al, do you have any other ones you like?
Um, no, those are pretty much the main ones that I was curious about. But I do have to tell you, the posts of you walking the dog, or um,
he's here right now.
or oh,
Is
that's
he?
awesome. And the one where I guess your daughter was riding the bike and you were skating,
Mm.
man, those are the best ones.
Oh, thank you, man.
It just reminds me to, hey, slow down, appreciate the stuff that's going on around you, and
Yeah, totally.
it's it's really good
I
There's
stuff.
think.
there's
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say there's a lot of that kind of stuff that doesn't see the light of day because
Yeah.
my wife is like, you know, don't put all this personal stuff out there.
Hmm.
And, you know, so I don't do a lot of that, but just once in a
Hmm.
while, I just, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, it's it's important. It's part
Yeah.
of life
Well,
for
I
sure.
think it's funny that. I mean, I don't think it's funny. I actually think it's pretty freaking cool that. So when we were setting up this, when we were setting up this interview, we were talking about times to get together, and you're like, "Yeah, you know, I kind of like to keep work with work. I kind of like to keep family with family." And I know a lot of the times when me and Al talk to owners and stuff, it's usually late at night. You know, our time is usually 7, 8 o'clock at night. Usually when people are home with their families, taking time out of their day. But like, I think it's cool that you kind of carve out time for your family. That it's like, hey, this is my family time. This is my work time, and I really respect that you have those boundaries. That it's like, hey, if we're gonna talk cigars, I'm gonna be at the office. You know, that's where we're gonna keep the cigar talk at, and then I'm gonna, keep the family personal time to family personal time. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
And I don't.
I was on a phone call like for an hour catching up with
Hmm.
Matt Booth. Matt and I
Mm.
hadn't talked in a minute, and so he calls me up. We're talking. And he told me, he's like, you know, I really still to this day admire how you were able to. He's like, you and Dion are the only ones that've been able to own a brand, stay credible, visible, whatever, and not go down the road of having to do in stores and be on the road and
Yeah.
be a road dog and everything. And he
Yeah.
said it's because you set the boundary from the get go. And I said, that's
Hmm.
exactly right. I said,
Yeah.
I had really well defined boundaries. And I'm like, I
Hmm.
will do this, I will not do that.
Yeah.
And I just stuck to my guns. And so now when we first started, I got asked that a lot, like,
Hmm.
you got to go do events and can you come to the store? Da, 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 da. And I'm like, no, I just won't do it. And for better or worse, I stuck to my
Hmm.
guns. And now that happens very seldom. People just know, don't even ask him. He's not going to do it. And it's
Yeah.
not because for any other reason, but I have really firm, strict priorities, and my
Yeah.
family is before my business. It's
Yeah.
just the way it is. So when I have an opportunity to come across the table, I look and see how it fits in with number one, and then number two, and number three. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then I have to take a hard pass. So
Yeah.
it's the same
And
reason
I
why you guys are nice enough to carve out in the middle of the day or towards the end of the day, this time to talk, because,
yeah.
I mean, how many years I've been doing this, and I teased, what's the guy, Eric at Dojo. I said,
Yeah.
I think I've been doing this longer than most people. And I said, I've yet to be on your show. And he was just like, ooh, kind of thing. And I'm like,
Mhm.
and it's no slam on him. I was just busting his
Yeah.
chops a little bit, but I'm not going to like stay up at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at
Yeah.
night on a Friday night and, watch a bunch of guys get boozy while my
Mhm.
kid is going to go to bed without a story, or I'm not going
Yeah.
to see my, no, I'm just not going to do that. That's my
Yeah, well,
family's
like I
time.
said,
That's sacred.
I think that's really cool that you've done that and that you stood on it and that, um, and it's one of the things like being able to hear you talk about family and values and valuing yourself and valuing what's around you is very rare in this day and age. And I really, which is like I said, and I think I've told you this before, but that's one of the reasons why what has drawn me to Crown Heads and you in general is just that you have a set of morals that is very rare to see this day and age, especially from a cigar brand owner. When you look at people that are constantly on the move all day long, that are just like, "Hey, I'm here today. Hey, I'm here today. Hey, I'm here
Hmm.
today. Hey, I'm here today." And I was like, "Okay." And so, when was the last time you were home? I said, "I don't know. I haven't been home in like a month." And I'm like,
Hey, for some
"Okay,
people it
well,
works. For some people it works, and it never was going to work for me.
yeah,
When I first started dating my wife, and then we got serious and decided to make a life together, we were very pragmatic about it. And she's like, "I
hmm
know how much you've been on the road, as CAO. I want a husband. I don't want somebody to be on the road. I got that's it. You got, and I haven't gone back on that word. Hang on one
nice,
second. Hang on one second.
you're good."
Um, I'm good, but my dog's not because he's chewing on one of our chairs here in the lounge.
Uh oh.
So I have to stop him. Come here, buddy.
Gotcha.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Come here. Say hello. Come over here. This is Leo.
What's up,
Awesome.
Leo?
Hey, Leo.
What's going on, buddy? What's happening? Uh, he's a rescue. Oh,
Ah,
I'm tangled up.
nice.
Yeah, so Friday is Leo's day to come into the office with dad and
There
hang
you
out.
go. That's cool.
Give mom a break. You be a good boy. It's just different values for different people. And it's the way I choose to live my
Yeah.
life. I just separate church and state and try to
Yeah.
put the phone down and the social media down when I go home and be a husband and a father. And
Yeah.
sometimes I get it right. Other times not as much, but
Yeah.
it's worked for us for 15 years.
Now, a little bit of a change of gears here. So one of the
Hmm.
things that Al and I really love, and I know a lot of people love it, is your merch side of Crown Heads.
I can
Um,
tell. Yeah, I didn't
yeah,
plan this, but you
I
guys,
mean, hats, sure, it is what it is.
yeah.
But I'm a big hat guy. Like I said, I think I sent you a picture recently. I have probably about 100 cigar hats on the back of my door, and I think a third of them are yours. So it is what it is. But
Yeah.
um, it's always interesting to see what your merch is coming out with next. Like I think the latest one you just did, which sold out, you said in under 6 hours, was the golf
Yes.
hat. And it's cool because you always come out with these play on an established brand of
Hmm.
something and then turn it into um, a Crown Heads thing. Like the latest one, the golf one, which is cool. So I'm a big golfer and I loved it. It's the brand called Ping.
Ping.
And
Ping.
instead
Mhm.
of Ping, it says effing good cigars in the
Great
in the
cigars.
in the
Effing great
effing great
cigars.
cigars and
Yeah.
in the Ping logo. Uh the one you're wearing now, which is the brand new Nashville CH hat, which is a cool colorway, the red and blue that plays off the
Yeah.
Broadway, cigar.
Mhm.
How do you sit and come out with these ideas for your merch?
Somebody asked me that on a DM the other day, and I honestly said, I think it's just because my brain doesn't work like the average adult male. That
Mhm.
I think it's just I see things differently than other. So I could look at the Ping logo and say, "Oh, that looks like fucking." effing.
Mhm.
This is a file
Yeah.
of this is all the headwear. I'm showing you guys. This is all the headwear
Jeez.
that I've either done, or that's in the design stage, or that's
Oh
been
man.
shipped, or that I'm
Wow.
working on.
Wow.
Yeah. So that gives you an idea of how much of that stuff I do. Yeah, I kind of alternated. I'll do riffs on logos, and that's nothing new. Like if you look in like skate culture, they do it all the time.
Hmm.
And that's kind of where I drew that inspo from. Skateboard culture and streetwear.
Yeah.
They just kind of do riffs on that stuff. So I do some of that, and then I'll also do something more traditional, like use the hero logo and reinforce the Crown Heads
Yeah.
logo. It's just fun, man. I mean, this is something that like I've always been into hats ever since I was a little kid. Like I
Yeah.
can remember when I was 5, like if I did good in school or something, my mom would go to this department store downtown. It was called Ruth Atkins, and she would buy me an MLB hat that I wanted, whether it was the
That's cool.
Giants or the Pirates.
Hmm.
And so I started collecting hats at a very young age, and I loved
Hmm.
hats, always did. And then just as I got further down the road at CAO, I started designing hats for them and doing merch
Hmm.
for them, and started but that wasn't until I got into Crown Heads I could really take the handcuffs off and do whatever the hell I wanted, and I did, and it's just kind of grown. And
Yeah.
yeah, so it's just fun. It's just another creative outlet for me, and
Hey,
I think why
yeah,
not?
it's funny because I was saying that it gives you like that, it would give you that like creative space to kind of like riff on other brands because like you've had some really interesting ones. Like I didn't connect it at first until Al showed me the relax hat off
Hmm.
of the Rolex,
Right.
and I
Mhm.
didn't get that one at first. But that is like a super interesting one. And then the line that you took off of the life's I guess the clothing wear brand, like there was the one that said Ligero on it and the one that says Plume on it is that
Yeah.
is from
That's not a riff on anything. It's really, I just, there was a guy, a designer who passed away. His name was Virgil Abloh, and he used to have
yeah,
a brand called Off
Yeah, it's a
White.
Virgil Abloh. Yeah, yep,
Yeah.
the
So
Off-White brand.
he would use like the Helvetica font and put everything in
Mhm.
air quotes to make you kind of
Mhm.
Mhm.
think that was the inspiration for that, but it wasn't a direct riff on Off White or Virgil. But that was
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
inspiration for that. And then like the Rolex thing, I looked at Rolex and I was listening to a song, oddly enough. It was a Sting song from Ten Summoners Tales, Saint Augustine in Hell, and there's a break in the song where the narrator goes, "Relax, have a cigar."
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
for some reason, I was like, Rolex is one letter away from relax. So I'm going to put
Mhm.
relax in the same font, and I'm going to put have a cigar on the side.
Yeah.
And that's how that one came about. And I had that idea pop in my head. I just texted my hat guy, said, let's lay this out. Here's the color on the crown, the visor, the buttons, the
Yeah.
closure. And then 2 days later, it's done.
Now, just a question that kind of goes along with that. Like, have you ever run into some trouble with brands kind of seeing your hats and then being like, "Hey, here's a nice cease and desist letter for you to pull this back."
I have not at Crown Heads, but at CAO, I got 2 cease and desists at CAO. I did. I remember this was early on too. I put enjoy CAO cigars, but I put
Mhm.
CAO cigars in the same font as Coca-Cola because you'd always see enjoy Coca-Cola. I put
Mhm.
enjoy CAO cigars white on a red, and I used it on a t-shirt. We had
Okay.
that t-shirt out for I think less than a month, and I got the cease and desist from Coca-Cola. And then we did a brand called CAO Extreme, and it was right at the advent of like strong full-bodied cigars like
Mhm.
VSG and stuff like that. So I had the idea of putting a rated R sticker on the front of every box that said restricted for experienced smokers only, full bodied, that kind of a play.
Mhm.
So the MPAA, Motion Picture Association of America,
Yeah.
sent us a cease and desist on that. So those are the
Really?
2 times. Yeah,
All right. Well,
those were the two
not
times.
Not as many as I thought you'd have, but like I said, it always wonders to me, especially these huge brands like Rolex, and I know you have one that's like Supreme, like the big clothing brand
Yeah.
Supreme. I know you have like
Hmm.
one back in the vault that looks like a Supreme logo,
The
and
box logo. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so that's like I said, it always
There's
I
also
always wondered.
there's an interesting Stanford case. This is a case study on it was a big court battle and about fair use. And basically it was determined that you could use a logo for inspiration and riff off of it for whatever. And then, so I always fall back on fair use. And
Hmm.
it's like stanford.edu.law or whatever, something like that. And I read
Yeah,
about it. So I'm not completely oblivious to that. But if it ever came down the pike where it was a cease and desist, I'm like, dude, I made 200 of these. They're gone, and we won't do it again. Sorry. So
yeah. Whoops, my bad.
yeah, exactly.
Well, I thought it was really cool that the one you just gave away, that you pulled out of the archives, because I'm a big fan of fried bread with glaze over it. So
No, don't
that's
don't
that's
don't
one
lie.
that was one that always I'm keeping my eye out for. If I ever catch one, I'm gonna grab it.
That's one of our most popular ones we've ever done. I remember that. I always get messages, when are you going to bring the Krispy Kreme hat back? And I'm just like, we did
Yeah.
do a second run of it, but I just changed the verbiage on the side from
Hmm.
delicious and fresh to like now and anytime or something. And
Yeah.
it's just fun to do, man. I like to create stuff that I think is cool that I would wear.
Yeah.
And if somebody else out there thinks it's cool too, that's great. If not, then that's fine too. So,
Yeah. I actually just found one on eBay that I bought the Juarez cigar that looks like the Red Bulls logo, and it's got
hmm,
Juarez and it's got the two Juarez Bulls on it. I thought
yep.
I was like, that's right up my alley because I'm a soccer guy as well as a Crown Heads guy. So, but yeah.
I
So.
remember back at the time I was trying to. This was what, 7 years ago or something like that. But I was trying to find a Red Bull hat, and they were hard to
Hmm.
find. Like I went on
Oh yeah.
eBay and everything. I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna make my own, and I'm gonna change the bull to our bulls from the Juarez band, and I'm gonna,
Yeah.
put Juarez instead of Red Bull, and changed it slightly and modified it, and yeah.
Yeah, I
So
love that. That's one of my I found it, I was like, I instantly had to buy that. So, but yeah, so we've been on here for a little bit now. Wow. Time flies, man.
it
So
does. It
it
does.
you stay extremely busy, a lot busier with releases this year than a lot of other companies I've seen. So I know you gave an update on a video recently. So explain to us kind of like what the rest of year looks like. I know we have a bunch of LEs and um I don't think we have any core line stuff coming out, but I know we have a bunch of LEs and some regular yearly releases coming out. So what does your timeline look like to like December-ish?
Right now, we just started shipping the rebranded version of La Imperiosa.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I saw
shortly,
that, which the boxes
we
are beautiful on that, by the way.
thank you, thank you.
Thanks.
So Mil Diaz Maduro, La Imperiosa rebrands are all out in the wild now. Broadway has been shipping out. We that brand we can't catch up to it actually. We're still
Hmm.
fulfilling back orders, and what happens is we get another shipment in, but since the first shipment and the second and the third, we've gotten more orders in, so it's really, knock on wood, that one's been a hit for us.
Good.
So we're doing those. We've got Las Calaveras, which is en route. Finally, we had a production delay because of materials, because of the rings were delayed by
Ah,
nearly 30
that's
days.
what Al said. Al said the
Yeah,
exact thing. He's like, "Oh, I wonder if they're having like packaging delays with like the bands." And I was like, "No, we'll see." But then yeah, Al, you got that right on the head this time.
the bands were supposed to be delivered to the factory the last week of June. They ended up getting to the factory in totality in like the third week of July. Yeah,
Wow.
it was bad. But it's complete. It's being shipped from my father, so we should see it next week.
Nice.
And then the
Yeah, looking
rest,
forward to those.
yeah. So that's takes you up to August, and so now in August, on August the 20th, we're going to be announcing the first LE, which I can't really give away right now, but we're going to do an
Don't
LE in
I'm not going to ask you
August,
to reveal anything you don't want to.
Mm-mm.
and then we have another LE coming in September, which is really a fun one that I got to get geeked out about because it was a smaller ring gauge for the first time in a long time. And
Hmm.
then we've got another LE coming out in October. And then right around October, maybe slash November, we're unrolling the second phase of the rebrand. So that same look and style you saw
Hmm.
with Broadway and the others is going to be introduced in Tennessee Waltz,
Okay.
in Jericho Hill, and in the
Okay.
original Four Kicks.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, we were gonna, and it's funny that you said that because that was one of the questions that I had was if you could disclose what your second half rebrand is gonna look like.
Yeah, Waltz is exciting because up until now it's just been the 5.5 52, the OG size.
Yeah.
And I got the green light from the Garcias to expand that into its own line, 3 sizes. So Tennessee Waltz will have a new look, but it will also have the OG size. It'll have a
Okay.
CG size, which is a 5 5/8 46, and then a Toro, which is 654, all in the new packaging. And that cigar
Nice.
we introduced it 11 years ago, and it's still usually one of our top 3 SKUs annually.
Hmm.
So now really stepping on the gas and making it its own brand is really going to be a game changer for us. And then Jericho, I still go back to that cigar and smoke it and go, God, this is like the best cigar we have that nobody really knows about. And I
Yeah.
think the rebrand will get attention going again, and people will
Yeah.
smoke it and just really, oh wow, where's this been, kind of a thing. Because it is a phenomenal blend. The Garcias, again, from my father.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that as well.
It's funny. One of my buddies just gave me a few of the Lanceros in the Jericho Hill, which was
12 Honest Men.
12 honest men, and
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to smoking that because he's like, I found these in some weird podunk shop in Delaware, and this is a shop that he always goes to that has like all kind of age stuff. So these things are, at least 5 years old. So I'm really looking forward to kind of smoking these Lanceros and uh
I
and
found
really.
some. I found a bundle of LBVs, long black veil, the longer cigar in
Hmm.
Jericho, and they were like the cello was completely yellow, like as if you had painted it yellow. It was so old, and I was just blown away. I'm like, oh my god, this cigar is
Yeah.
so good. Cigar is so
That's
good.
that's fantastic. I love finding age stuff. Like I actually just bought a box of the Tennessee Waltz from Tinderbox,
Hmm.
and they were like, I was like, "Do you have any of these boxes left?" And he's like, "Not only do I have boxes," he's like, "but a few years ago we got a chance to buy a substantial amount, and so the box I bought, I believe, was from like he said was from the batch that he bought in like 2021, 2022.
Makes
So
sense.
so the one that I have has like at least 3 years of age on it. So I haven't
Cigar
yet.
ages beautifully too. It really ages
Yeah.
well. You know, Waltz it started off in 14 as a state exclusive to Tennessee.
Yeah.
You couldn't get the cigar outside of Tennessee, and then the demand for it kind of organically grew. And then we used to do this thing. We did it for 2 years. We did this thing called Lawless Day, where basically one day we would open up the phones and the emails and everything and say anybody in the United States can order Tennessee Waltz, and we would just
Nice.
have this run on Waltz for one day. So that's how it ended up outside of Tennessee. And we did that for
Hmm.
2 years. And then we just said, okay, let's just sell it everywhere we can. But it's always been just one size, one SKU, and as soon as it comes in, it goes out. But now
Yeah.
I think we're gonna be able to really broaden the footprint with that one. So it'd be
Now, are
exciting.
you doing the Tennessee with like the volunteer orange with like a silver color, like kind of like the footband color, and taking the footband
Footband,
off?
no, the footband will still be an orange ribbon, just like
Okay.
it is now. But imagine like here's the rebrand, so you can see the how this looks.
Yeah.
But the predominant colors will be orange and cream, and but that
Okay.
vibrant orange. So
Hmm.
it's going to look really nice,
I'm
really
telling you,
pretty.
I love the rebrand is fantastic, and I think you guys
Thank
did an
you.
amazing job with the first half, and I think with the amount of time that you spent on this and just the way they look, like the La Imperiosa with that baby blue color
Yeah,
looks fantastic, and I can only imagine like what the Tennessee is going to look like once you
it's
get
going to
that
be a
rolled
banger.
out.
Even
Yeah,
even Jericho with the black and the cream and the bronze is going to be a whole different level cigar. I mean,
I
I,
can't
I go
imagine
back.
now. I can't wait to
We've
see
got
that
some.
one.
We've got the original boxes on the racks right now, and I look at
Hmm.
it and go, "How does?" at the time, that's what I wanted. I wanted something really understated, just a cabinet box with a label. But
Yeah.
now that's been so dated, and it really needs
Yeah.
a shot in the arm. So I think this is what's going to happen. You'll see in October, November.
And then, so October, November, do you have anything scheduled for the end of the year that we
That
are?
is the end of the year because once you get past like Thanksgiving or Black Friday,
Yeah.
it's Deadsville. Nobody wants anything.
Okay.
So our year really runs through like Black Friday. If you don't have it out by
Yeah.
then, you don't. We do have one other like smaller project that I am really excited about.
Yeah.
We're doing the collaboration with the Creekside Boys.
Creekside, I'm really looking forward to
Mhm.
that too. Yeah.
Yeah, and that will probably be October, November as well.
Okay.
It's a small run, but it all came together at the trade show. We were sitting on a
Mhm.
couch and Dave just threw out the idea. I'm like, yeah, let's do it, and we just started
I think we
collaborating
lost
back
them.
and forth. Uh, Did you lose me? Or am I back? Hello,
Nope, I can hear you.
you can hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, so that one will be it's everything's in production. Secondary bands came in. So yeah, we're looking good for probably Octoberish on that one. So that'll be fun to do. I love Creekside. I'm a big fan of those guys.
Well, I just recently had Jericho Hill for the first time, and something that stood out to me was the it has a room note. I mean, the scent that comes off of it, the smoke, it's almost like smoking pipe tobacco
Mm.
with that room note. So that was a pleasant surprise.
Well, I'll tell you the inspiration story behind Jericho. I was at my father's cigars at the factory in January of 14, and I was there initially to work on Calaveras. And I thought Calaveras was going to be a one and done type of a
Hmm.
situation. But out of that meeting in that week, we produced Calaveras, Tennessee Waltz, and Jericho Hill. So it was really productive. But the motivation for Jericho, I asked Jaime Garcia, I said, Jaime, do you have, I remember it was San Andreas wrapper. And he said, of course. And he showed me all these pilones in the warehouse.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. I said, I want to do something. So what are you going to do? I said, I want to make the poor man's Padron Anniversario. And he just lit up and smiled. He's like, I can do that. I said, okay, great. Let's go. And that's why it's box pressed. That's why it is what it is. And so when it first came out, there was a few reviewers that independently of each other said, this reminded me a lot of a Padron. And I was just like,
There you go.
so yeah, that's why I think it's one of the best kept secrets in our portfolio. But hopefully that will change with the rebrand and getting more people to smoke it because it is an excellent cigar. It's it really is. I'm kind of making what's old new again kind of thing with
Yeah.
this rebrand.
Well, and something else too, and I didn't even know, but Rob turned me on to the fact that Omotepe is those cigars are at the top of my list. I really love the taste and the smell of the Omotepe cigars.
Yeah, we use a little bit of it in various cigars, and it's a hit or miss thing. Like I know Brooks Whittington at Half Wheel despises Ometepe tobacco. If I tell him what's in the filler on something and he's like, "Oh, you're using Ometepe," oh, and I was like, "Dude, just smoke it."
Just try it.
Right.
Sometimes it works with the blend. You have to just try it. You can't just be like, "Oh, I'm not going to use that," But yeah, I mean, it's just everything. It all depends on ingredients on their own may turn somebody off, but when you put them together in the pot and they kind of marry, and sometimes it works magically. So it's a lot of trial and error and experimentation.
Hmm.
Well, it's like that guitar riff that may not sound good on its own, but once you add the other pieces with it, then it's an awesome
Exactly.
song.
Hmm.
Exactly. It finds its way in there for sure. 100%.
But yeah, I love, and let me just say at this point, so we're coming down, we're in August. We
Yeah.
got a couple more months left. I'm starting to formulate at least my top 10. So the way I do my top tens is I will always do core lines for top 10. I will never do any special edition cigars.
Mhm.
So I love the fact that you brought out a new core line. And I will tell you that Broadway is in the top 3 right now. So I haven't yet
Cut it off. Cut it
dis
off. No
I
more.
haven't
That's
yet
it.
I haven't yet disclosed to anybody. Al knows what my top 3 is so far, but
Yeah.
nobody currently knows like what my final rankings are going to be. But your your uh, your Broadway is in the top 3. So
Thank you. Thank
where in
you.
the top 3, we'll see where it lands. And it's funny because I always say, people, and let me tell you, so people have their own palates, and it's amazing to see a lot of these different reviewers be like, I hate this when, or not I hate this, but this blend is not for me. And
Right.
then other reviewers say, I love this blend, it just hits every note that I love.
Hmm.
And for some reason, just your palate, the way you tend to pick your cigars, I love the notes that you go. Now, do you go after certain notes when you're blending that you like to taste in your cigars, or how does that how does that make its way into your blending?
I just look for, I have an idea of the flavor profile that I want to achieve with a
Mhm.
particular brand. I don't like look for, I don't tell you, you can't tell someone like Jaime Garcia, I want more nutmeg. I want more cinnamon. I want more leather. I want more
Yeah.
earth. You know, you
Right.
cannot do that. You just kind of like the cigar we're working on for 2026.
Yeah.
I knew the wrapper I wanted to use, and so I had to like claim that wrapper now so that they could start aging it so it's ready. So I
Yeah.
said, okay, I want to use this, and they're like, okay, you just got to let us know a year in advance. And I'm like, okay, it's done.
There you
And
go.
then we start going through. At this point, I kind of know enough about various, you know, varietals of tobacco that if I want a little more sweetness, can we try that with a jalapa? Can we take out
Yeah.
one viso and put this in with jalapa? Or if I want to spice up, can I take that out and put in a ligero? Like Broadway was a riff on the patissier. The patissier had two visos and one ligero. I said, it's really good, but let's flip flop it. Let's go two ligero, one viso. And that simple tweak became Broadway. And I was like, this is banging.
Yeah.
It went from on 3 cylinders to 4 cylinders. So,
Yeah.
just little things like that. Same thing with like Belgian blue. That was just a
Mhm.
trial and error thing. And I said, what would happen if dot, dot,
Mhm.
dot, we did this? And then the factory hits me back and they go, well, what's going to happen there? Sorry about that. It's going to be 75% Ligero and it probably won't burn. I'm like, let's try
Mhm.
it. And we tried it and it burned. It tasted beautifully, and it was just like one
Yeah.
of our best things that we did last October when we released it. People were like blown away.
Yeah.
So it's just a little bit of experimentation, but like Pete Johnson told me like years ago. Pete's like, look, our job as brand owners is to validate things and don't get in the way. When you start with great tobaccos, it's hard to fuck it up.
Mhm.
And that was always true to me because like at that time I was going through Las Calaveras 2014 blends and Hyman gave me 3 blends and I told Pete, I'm like, dude, 3 blends? Like that's it? I got to pick one from he's like, when you start with great tobacco, it's hard to fuck it up. Just don't get in the way. And so I
Mhm.
picked a blend. He smoked it. He's like, yeah, this is really fucking good. It became the OG Las Calaveras. And I always remember that. I was like, yeah, when you're working with good partners, good factories, and they have great
Yeah.
tobaccos, it's hard to mess it up unless you're a complete moron. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So all these stories you hear about, it took us 75 renditions of this cigar and blah. Then, look, go find another job because if it takes you that many to find the blend, I mean, it's like, if you're playing baseball and you had to get up to bat 75 times to get a home run, I don't know.
That's not something that's gonna keep you on a team.
Mm-mm.
Right. Right.
So
But
I'm just lucky to work with some really good people, man. They make me look better
yeah.
than what I am.
Now, who are the 4 houses that you currently work with?
Casa Carrillo, which is Ernesto Perez Carrillo.
Mhm.
Uh, it's now called De Hatui, which used to be Tabacalera Pichardo, which is Horario Pichardo. Of course, my father's cigars, Esteli, and then Naxa, Nicaraguan American Cigars SA, and Esteli. Those are the 4 houses that we work with currently. So Naxa did
Yeah.
Broadway, for instance, and
Yeah.
they've done a fantastic job. That was a real gift to get to work again with Gustavo. He's the head
Mhm.
of that house, Gustavo Cura, and it was kind of full circle because Gustavo was the first guy that really kind of took Mike and I under his wing and introduced us to everybody that was a player in Esteli at the time when we were trying to find out what house was going to make the first cigar for us.
Mhm.
So he really opened a lot of doors. And then, years later, I found out from Willie Herrera. I said, what's Gaston? He's like, oh, he's headed up Knox. I'm like, what? I thought that was Omar Ortiz. He said, no. He's like, Gus is in charge of there and Prosenixa. And I'm like, shit, I should give him a call. And
Mm.
I made him, and then we did, in short order, we did Azuli Oro as an LE, and then we did Le Patissier, and now we're doing Broadway with them. And they're also doing Tim's Caratoba.
Yeah, which again came out as another one of my uh top 10. So, like I said, going back to the point that I was saying before, a lot of the things that you like to pick just like the same kind of notes that I like. So it's not it's not uncommon, or it's not a wonder why I like Crown Head cigars, because just that flavor profile that you always come up with just happens to just hit the right notes that I like. So um
Thank you. We like
it
the same
is
T-shirts too, apparently. I
yeah,
guess.
apparent yeah, we like the same t-shirts too. But John, like I said, thank you so much
Mm.
for coming on. Al, do you have anything fine? I don't want to keep you much longer. We've already been, it's over an hour, which, is, we
Yeah.
try to not stretch it too long. So, Al, do you have anything else to add?
Um, Not really. I'm just honestly, I'm trying not to fanboy out. I know you're a cigar lover like the rest of us, so I just appreciate you as a person and just keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. It means a lot to me. It's
Hmm.
guys like you that keep me doing it because that's without you guys and supportive people that enjoy the products, it'd be really hard to keep doing it and keep doing what we're doing. So, and I'm a cigar geek. I look at those lists as much, if not more, to see what else is good that I want to try, as
Hmm.
opposed to how many lists did Crown Heads end up on. I mean, I
Yeah.
always ask people like, "Hey, what's good? What's good out there?" And people, like Dave was in here from Creekside,
Hmm.
um, and
I saw
I
that.
geeked, yeah, and I
I saw
geeked
that,
out.
by the way.
Yeah, I geeked out. And I was like, what's good? What's good? He's like this and this and this. And, Nick Libretti from JR Cigar, the blending room guy, he was down here this week and we did a podcast with him. And same thing, I was picking his brain, like, what do you think is good this year so far? And
Hmm.
he was giving me his list. And and it's not, again, to see like, are we in the mix? It's like, oh, now I know I got to go try this Rodriguez cigar. I got to try this Warp
Hmm.
cigar. So I'm still like that. I'm still like, I geek out about stuff like that. I see Pete with a new drop. I'm like, oh man, I got to get a hold of that. That looks really good. And
Yeah.
want to try the My Father Blue and all, just like everybody else. I'm just a fan.
Yeah.
Well, and I really enjoyed the Ozheads episode where you just went through all of the Los Calaveras. That was really informative and just really appreciated that too.
Thanks, Al. I appreciate it. It was kind of a fun to walk back on that.
Hmm.
Tim kept asking me, well, whose initials are on this one in 2016? And I'm like, I don't know. Why are you at? You know what I mean? It's like, it's like, that's the one morbid portion of developing that brand every year. Is like, I got to go back and go, all right, who died last year? You know what I mean? It's just like,
Oh,
Right.
but
yeah.
yeah, I don't really keep a good log of that. But for some reason, he was fixated on, well, who's on this band and who's on the 2019 and the 18, the 17.
Hmm.
I don't remember. I can tell you the 16 was Connecticut Broadleaf. I can tell you the 23 was Connecticut Broadleaf. I can tell you but I don't remember the initials. But yeah,
Hmm.
that was a good episode. This last one we just did with Nick, we just kept. I said, dude, let's just have a conversation and hit the record button. I told Cole, and we were like, I said, okay, how much time are we at now? And Cole's like, an hour and 35. And I'm like, oh man, we gotta. And then we kept talking for like another 15 minutes because we were just completely like rambling about different things in the industry and cigars,
Yeah.
and it was fun. It was fun. That should be a good one coming out.
Um, I don't have anything final, but John, do you have anything you'd like to add to us, to our viewers, before we let you go?
No, man. If anybody wants to ask any questions, I'm always at the ready. Just I'm the guy, and it's like a lot of people farm out their social media, which I think is absurd. But if you send a DM to at the Crowned Heads, I'm going to be the guy that's going to field that
Hmm.
question. So you can reach me there, or info at Crowned Heads, that kind of a thing. But I do my best to try to get back to everybody at some point in time.
Yeah.
um, just common courtesy. So if you want to, and then that's probably the best way to follow what's going on. I always have like, little teasers or drops or info or whatever. Social media has been like it's been a blessing and a curse. A blessing
Hmm.
in that I can touch 35,000 people at the press of a button. And it's been a little bit of a curse because, yeah, there are times where I open my DMs and it's like, it's just like on and on and on.
Yeah.
And every guy, you got to realize it's like, even if they're giving you a compliment, they want to feel like they've been validated or seen, and you got to at least give them like the thumbs up or the thank you or something.
Yeah.
So it does become time consuming, but it's time well spent, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm just
Always.
grateful. Yeah, I'm grateful for everybody, actually, for all the support.
Yeah, it's funny to see you go online and drop little teasers, and looking forward to 2026's core line edition. I remember one of the one of the little vignettes that you did. I remember I was looking forward to. Um, you were giving it. You were like, and the new cigar we're looking at is blah blah blah, and then you had like the lawnmower going in the background where you couldn't
Oh yeah, yeah.
where you couldn't hear anything. I'm like, ah man.
That
So
was
I like,
yeah, that was a happy accident. No, it was a leaf blower. I had the leaf blower. I'm like, and I
oh, leaf
just
blower. Okay,
the idea came to me, and I thought that would be fun. Yeah,
yeah.
it was a leaf blower. So I just
But
was like,
yeah, so John, thank you so much for
my
taking time out
pleasure.
of your day, coming on with
I-
Al and
I'm
I.
glad you're feeling better, by the way, Rob, because
Bro,
we were
I
supposed to do this
listen,
like I think we were
a
going to do
month
this in
ago.
March or something, and then it was like April, and I'm like, I'm sick, and then I got back from a cruise, and I'm sick again, and now I've got Legionnaire's disease, and now I've got COVID, now I've
It
got
was it's
whatever. I'm like,
crazy. We went on a trip and it's like I came home sick from, of course, stuck in a tin can with, you know, 3,500 other people. And it's just like, who knows what kind of weird stuff you pick up from that stuff. And then I work at a hospital too. And
oh
so
well,
just like dealing with people all day long and in an ER is,
yeah.
just the plague as well. So it's been nice over the past 3 weeks. I've been able to taste all my cigars again. So um I'm looking forward to tasting the October one that you sent me. So I'm looking forward to trying that when I get to sit down and kind of taste that. So we're but
I
yeah,
just
so
remembered. I do want to plug one more thing. We are doing another
sure.
release. It's going to be a value prop. I can't tell you the name, but I think I sent you one. I literally
Yep.
wrote value prop,
Yep, you
but
did, and I sent you the blend notes on that, the
yeah,
tasting notes of what I thought about that into your DM. So,
I
and I know
saw
you.
that, and I gave Libretti one on the podcast and unbanned
Hmm.
it, and he's like, "What is this? This thing is fantastic." I'm like, "What if I
Yeah,
told you that cigar was going to be come out at $6 a stick?" And he's just like,
yeah.
"Are you
It
kidding
and
me?"
it's
So
really good for a
yeah,
$6. It's
oh,
fantastic. And
Yeah.
by the way, I just wanted to say, one of the things you posted recently before we let you go, one of the things you posted recently on the Juarez was, uh, I don't know if it made any lists, but this cigar is freaking amazing. And
Mhm.
I forget what else you said, but as a rebuttal, Al and I did put it in our list of best value cigars. So
thank you,
it made our list.
thank you.
So
It wasn't really. I wasn't poking at anybody except for
oh, I know.
the big guy in the room. That it's just like I that's a whole different show. But basically, like that,
Yeah.
this particular source that I'm kind of referring to, without calling them out,
Oh yeah.
has never ever rated that cigar good, bad, or indifferent. Haven't given it the
Hmm.
time of day, and yet I
Mhm.
looked at the analytics through the end of July, and our number one performing brand, Juarez.
Yeah,
So
and it's fantastic. Like I said, one of my favorites because you can. I mean, I just love the coffee notes you get out of it, and I'm a big coffee guy, and I love just a good, nice cup of what is it? Strong
there you go. Cigar
coffee
strong,
black.
whiskey neat, coffee black.
Yeah, so it's yeah. So I love the Juarez with
Thank
the
you.
coffee, and it's
That's
fantastic.
it.
But
Listen, that cigar could box with cigars that are like 12 to 15, in my opinion. That cigar is
yeah,
that good. And
Most definitely.
we take a little bit of a hit on it, but that's okay. And it's like it's still 7 to 9, which in
hmm
today's economy is a bargain.
Yeah.
And I'm
For
happy
sure.
to keep doing it. I think that cigar is really a great value for dollar
Yeah.
cigar, which we need that. Everybody needs that in their portfolio. But
Yeah.
this one that I'm bringing out, the value prop is
Hmm.
one step even deeper. It's going to be like $6, 10 count bundle, cool marketing, cool branding, and just give somebody an opportunity like, hey, I don't want to smoke this $12 Broadway while I'm cutting the lawn. I want
Cutting
to
the
go
lawn,
focus.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I can
Yeah.
get this. This is $6. I don't mind, and it's still got flavor to it, and it's still good.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. So, John, thank you so much, like I said, for coming on.
my
Thank you
pleasure,
for giving
boys.
us your time. And we're looking forward to the rest of the year, man. Like I said,
So am
Crown
I.
Heads is a
Mhm.
brand me and Al both follow very closely. Obviously, as you
Thank
can
you.
tell, we are social media and Crown Heads fanboys. So it's just we're looking forward to what you're gonna surprise us with next. So thank you so much. Um,
Appreciate you guys.
you could find John at the Crown Heads. He had all his socials, and like I said, if you have never tried Crown Head cigars, it's time to try Crown Head cigars. Honestly, um,
Most
they
definitely.
they they're fantastic. So I
Thank you.
can't, I could wax poetic on D's for Crown Head cigars, but John has other stuff that he wants to do probably with his family. So instead of spending time with us. So
All
John,
good. I appreciate
like
you
I
guys.
said, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And until the next time we'll check in, we'll probably see you at PCA in April, hopefully.
I was
You
literally on the
know,
verge of booking my room
yeah,
today
I am as
today.
well.
So,
Um,
but yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a good one.
yeah,
We're gonna
and
have a couple of bangers coming out.
And then what else? Oh, I am probably gonna see you at your shop in December. So,
Nice.
I got, my sister's out there in Tennessee about 45 minutes from where your digs are.
By all
So
means, you tell
I'll
me the
make sure
day.
to stop by. I'll make sure to
We'll
stop by during the week when you're there. And yeah.
we'll
So
clean the slate and we'll smoke cigars and drink some strong coffee. And if you want some whiskey neat, I'm sure we can figure that out too.
but yeah, no, I'm looking forward to, I got jealous of the Creekside. They had a really nice. I was like, oh man, I can't wait to be there. I'm gonna be there in December, and I'm like, let's go. I can't wait. So,
I actually wanted to go up to Creekside. We just did an event with them on July 31st, and I
mhm.
was softballing it to my wife. I'm like, because we have family in Ohio. I'm like, let's just go up there and let's make a trip out of it. We can see family. I could do the gig. I could see the boys in
That's cool.
Creekside, but it didn't fly.
Yeah.
So he came down instead. I'm like, okay, and so he
Yeah.
drove down and back in the same day. But yeah, that's gonna be fun. Keep your eyes out for the Creekside Crown Heads collab. That's gonna be fun stuff.
So it's been so with John here, the Sultan of the Nashville cigar scene. Uh, I am Rob, and I'm joined by Al over here. And in closing, Al, do you have any last words?
Just, I hope you win the battles that you tell nobody about.
That's deep.
And for me, I'm just gonna say, make sure to check on your friends. You never know who's gonna need it. So, guys, this has been Rob and Al and John from uh, the Lounge Life podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers, boys.
Peace, guys.
See you guys. Thank you.